Hey guys, today we're going to do an introduction to local storage, HTML5 local storage. What HTML5 local storage is pretty much a database that is saved on the client instead of on the web. We can save information. It's not the same as an actual database. There are many differences, and we're going to go over a bunch of them throughout the example, but I find it better for actually doing it while I explain it rather than just talking about it. So the first thing I want you to do is create a new folder called local storage, or actually just make it local, and let's save as a new document in our local storage, and let's call it index.html. Okay, and save. And let's make a new folder. Let's call it CSS, and a new folder, and let's call it JS. And the first thing we're going to do is we should have all these files from what we've been doing in class. Oops. And I'm going to go to CSS, and I'm going to copy and then paste my transitions.css, and I'm going to copy and paste my jQuery.js and my excuse me, my dan.js. And we're going to make a little something of a Hello World local storage app, and we're just going to actually incorporate some of the things we've been doing in this class, like page transitioning and such, while we're at it. So let me make this bigger. Okay, so let's start by defining our doc type. Okay, and then let's declare our HTML again, and we are going to, let's get rid of that, make our head script. Sorry, let's start with our CSS goes first. Link relevant style sheet, type text.css, href css, transitions.css, and you know what, let's copy and paste it, this same line, and we're going to make an index.css as well for our regular styles, so we might as well link it, and then we'll just make it right afterwards. Index.css, and let's link our JavaScripts. Script type equals text/JavaScript. Source equals JS dan.js. And make sure you close your script. And we're actually going to link jQuery first. Type text/JavaScript. Source equals JS jQuery.js. And we'll close our script tags. And since we have everything here, let's close our head. Oops, and I forgot to close it here. As you can see, when I didn't close it, you'll see that things start to turn weird colors on my Notepad++. So this is a good indicator if you make a typo, because I know some people have been emailing me their typos, but if you just look, like for instance here, you realize that the purple doesn't stop, so you could tell that you've made a typo. So it's a good way for you to debug it yourself. And let's bring that out. Okay. And then we are going to create our body. And let's close everything. Okay. So with actually, the next thing we're going to do is create a new document and save as CSS, and let's make this index.css. So now we have it saved. Let's define our body, HTML, height 100%, width 100%, padding 0, margin 0, and let's also let's make a couple screens. Let's screen 1, position absolute. By the way, if you have any screens or divs that you want to apply transition to, they have to be position absolute. They cannot be position relative. As if you try it, you'll see the transitions come out really quirky because relativity is actually relative to other elements, and it has like a bumper car effect. So just FYI, any divs or screens you want to apply a transition to, you have to make them position absolute. Okay, that being said, let's position our position absolute height. I'm sorry, top 0, left 0. We're going to have it 100% of the screen, top left 0, height 100%, width 100%, and background color, let's make it blue. Okay, and save, and let's have screen 2. And actually, we could just copy and paste everything. And let's change blue to red, and display none. Okay, and let's see what we have. Oh, and the reason why we don't see anything is because I actually never added the divs to my HTML document. So let's go back to our HTML document and add div ID screen 1. And by the way, caps do matter, case sensitive. Okay, so let's save, and now I'm going to run it, see what happens. And I'll put on my other screen. Now we should have our screen come up, and I'm actually going to make these smaller. Okay, and so what we're going to do is we're going to make a mock front screen, and we're going to make a form as in if it was an edit settings form, and we're going to display some of our data on the next screen. Okay, so let's create a quick unordered list. ULID equals main button holder. Remember, capitalizations do matter. You could do it all caps, just make sure. I'm actually just doing it so you can see the name difference. Okay, class, no padding, because we're going to make another class another UL, and we're going to use the same styles. No padding, padding 0, margin 0, width 100%. Okay, and let's make some styles specifically for main button holder. Top 200 pixels, background color red. Okay, and you won't see anything because there's no padding. There's nothing in the UL right now. So let's add an LI and a button, or we're gonna add two. So let's do two. LI input type equals button. ID equals edit info button, value edit info. Now let's close this button and close the LI, save, and we should have our edit info. And let's add list style none. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to try to make a decent little button, because all we want to do is show us changing info. It's a very short little thing, little presentation. So what we're going to do is try to get some buttons. Let's see. And we are going to so because I took a second to write down these styles, let me actually, there you go, and we're going to use background color. Okay, first of all, this is how it's going to come out, and let's start to decipher some of these things. So if I get rid of my background color, and where are we? There's not much that changes. See, I get rid of our linear gradient. So actually what we could do is this. Let's just use our background color for now, since this is just a simple little thing anyway. And we're going to have like a grayish background with a nice little border radius, and then we're going to use a border. See, if I get rid of these borders, you're not going to see really much distinction, because the button's kind of going to be flat. This makes it a grayish color for the text. Text align center, obviously you don't need it because it's an input type of a button. Font weight bold changes the font. My paddings, if I get rid of the top padding, it's going to hug to the top, and if I get rid of all the padding, it's just going to hug to the button itself. So we have our padding, so we get some height on our buttons. On our button, I'm sorry. And we defined our font family, which there's a bunch, and I'm going to send you a list of different fonts you could use in your project. Okay, and let's see what we have. And our width, like I said, like we did for our app, it's a 90% with a 5% margin, which is like a fake centering of our application. Okay, so this is what we have for our edit info button. We're just going to do, let's actually get rid of this background color of red on our main button holder. We're not doing anything crazy right now. We're just going to create a pop-up with an Android style form, so we could change some of our information for our profile and save it via local storage, and we're going to be able to use JavaScript to bring it back out. So the next thing we're going to do is let's put in our pop-out wrappers, or wrapper. We're going to use one. So underneath our UL class with no padding with our main button holder, let's create a new div called div ID equals main screen pop out. Okay, and inside our main screen pop out, let's put div class pop out inner ID change info wrapper, and let's make sure we close it, because I have this problem all the time where I forget to close a div or a UL and then nothing works. Okay, so within that pop out inner, let's create our UL class, no padding, our UL. Okay, and we're gonna have our li and span class equals droid span, and I'm gonna bring this back so you guys can see better. And our input type text ID my name placeholder my name, or actually name, class droid input, and this is all stuff we've done before. Okay, now let's close our span and our li. And let's copy and paste because we are going to do something similar. ID equals my username, and placeholder is username. Class the same thing, and we should be okay as long as we have these two should be the same, except for my name should be my username and placeholder should be username. And now let's add our right and left buttons. Input type equals button. ID equals cancel info change. Left button. Value equals cancel. Okay, and now let's do our right button. And we're actually going to use this demo to do some HTML5 database stuff too. This is just local storage, and I'll tell you what that is in a minute as soon as we set up our skeleton sorter. Okay, so let's copy and paste, and let's bring this back, and now we have submit info change for our ID, because as we can start seeing with our transitions and animations that we need to have unique IDs for everything because we apply JavaScript actions to them. So let's have a class of right button, so it goes on the right, and the value of submit. Okay, and let me bring this back to its proper place. Okay, and I'm going to save, and let's put in our style for our main screen pop out. Display none, so by default we don't see it. Height, actually before anything else, let's define position absolute, top 0, left 0, height 100%, width 100%, z index, again z index, we'll put this div on top of everything else because it has the highest z index there is, and we're going to do our background color of RGBA of 0.7, and let's see, and that should be about it. Okay, and I just copied and pasted the styles from our previous projects because we're going to use the same kind of setup for our left button. So I'll give you a second on each. I have about 5 or 6. Okay, and I'll save. Okay, and let's go to, if you needed to stop, just pause the video. We've already went over these styles. This is our left button with a width of 50%, and it's to the left. At the bottom of our pop out, that has a padding of 70 pixels, so we could throw our buttons on the bottom. Then we have our right button that's on the right side of our pop out, and we have our padding of 20/20, so our buttons are about 40 pixels high. Okay, and a width of 50%, and that's our off-white Android light theme colors, and our Droid input, which gets rid of all of WebKit's rendering for inputs and gives us 0 styles at all, because we are going to use the span for our blue background with like halfway up bars. Okay, and let's go to our Droid span, which has our overflow visible, that lets us have letters that are bigger than the span so they don't get cut off. The reason why I can't do it with the input is because the input, the letters would just keep overflowing, like this would just overflow past the screen. So it has to be contained within one div and just have the illusion that it's in another, that it's contained by the span instead. And we have our margin left of 5%, so we'll have an artificial centered input, and a margin top, so we have some space in between our other inputs. let's go to our, and this is our change info wrapper, which is our pop out inner, and it has we're about 150 pixels from the top, which is about standard for most phones. I mean, we're gonna vary. It's gonna vary a little bit when we deal with changing styles depending on densities, because you have to make about 3 or 4 style sheets. But most of the stuff is reusable. It's just you have to change some positioning at some places to make things look right for every phone. And width 90%, left 5%, so it's dead center. And our Android background, and a little bit of a box shadow and a border radius, and our padding so we can put our buttons. Okay, and we refresh, and obviously there's nothing. So what we're gonna have to do is use JavaScript to pop out our buttons. So let's go down to the bottom. And let's throw in our script tags. And we have edit info button. So we are going to say edit info button dot click function, and we want to fade in our main screen pop out. Okay, and when we click on our edit info button, we should have a fade in, and the same type of information or same type of pop-out box we've been seeing throughout the semester. Okay, and let's get the ID for cancel info change. Cancel info change dot click function, and we are just going to do the complete opposite. Fade out main screen pop out. And the reason why we didn't do show 0 and hide 0 is because there's only one pop-out screen, so there's no point in adding extra scripts where you don't have to. Okay, so now as of right now, we should be able to fade in and out of our pop-out. Okay. Okay, so what if we don't want to cancel out? Because that's all we've been doing thus far. We've been canceling out, okay? Alright, so this is what we're going to do. It's going to get a little tricky at this point, but if you follow along, you'll definitely be able to see what's going on, okay? So just give me 1 second. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so let's build our script. Submit change dot info. Submit info change dot click function. Okay, so now we're setting up our submit info change click function, and now let's apply some action to it. So what do we want to do? we are going to save our okay, so what local storage is for items that are not in the list. So what a list would be is something like my website, where we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of places coming from a database. This would not be local storage. This we'd use a local database and just sync to the web. What would be considered one-time use is actually the word. Let me log on to a user account, and things like a first name, last name, email, phone number, some of these one-time items for your personal information would be called local storage, because we know that we're going to save my name as the key, and the value would be whatever your name is, and we would also have to sync that to the web. But this is stuff that will we can save to the phone to make things a lot easier. Okay, so let's actually do an example. Let's go to here to our function. We're going to actually set a variable. What a variable is just pretty much a plain English word. So let's do, it's called, to set a variable, we say var, and then the name for it. So var my name equals, and now we actually have to put what JavaScript function will equal my name, because we're going to use this again in our function. So let's set the value, which would be the text in our my name input, as the variable for my name. So how do we do that? We have our input of, let's see, ID of my name. So to get the value of an input box, my name, and that's how we select it using jQuery dot val, which is value. That would actually get the value of the input box of with the ID of my name. And let's do the same thing for my username. Val my username will be, let's see, my username dot value. And to test, when we do to test something, like to see if something worked, we could just do an alert my name, and we don't need quotation marks because variables are actually objects. They're not strings, so we don't have to put quotation marks around them. We just have to call it with whatever the name is of the variable. And let's save, and let's try it. And since we don't have anything for our value, it's going to say nothing. So let me put my name, and let's try it. And now the value of that input box is the value of my name. Okay, and just so you know, when you say variable my name, it can only be used by the one function that we're doing here. So if we wanted this same variable up here, let's say, we would have to copy and paste the variable in here as well. Okay, there's other ways of doing things, but this is a very simple way to do it. So we're going to start off this way, and then I'm going to show you a quicker and more advanced way of saving stuff. Okay, so since now that we could kind of see how to, let's try alerting my username and make sure it works. Okay, and there we go. So it works, and that's a good way to see if everything works. So let's get rid of our alerts. And how do we set local storage? We simply say local storage dot set item and now we have to put our user, the key, and the value pair. So we want to say our actual my name is how we're going to call it later, and then what would constitute as my name as the variable. Okay, and the same thing for my username. Actually, because it seems a little weird, it's only because I'm saving everything as the same name. But really, so say instead of we want to use it later as just name, it's whatever you want to save it as, and then we'll call it later just to make sure everything's right. Okay, so we're going to let's save our username. Set item username, and it'll be my username. Okay, and how do we check this? We are going to let's first refresh our page. There's a couple ways. We could go to right click and inspect the element of our document, go to resources, and where's local storage? Somewhere around here. Oh, here we go, local storage, and I apparently didn't save anything. Oh, let's run the script first. So we have nothing stored yet, so let's save our name, solo, username Danman, and save. And we have a problem, so let's go to our console. Has no, and I must have spelled something wrong. And hold on one second. I'm sorry, just make sure that in local storage.set item the I is capitalized or it won't work. Yeah, so when you set things the wrong way, or actually type things the wrong way, then things start to work. And we don't have a problem this time. And let's see, let's go to our resources and local storage, and now you'll see there's local storage. So now our key is my name and the value is Daniel Nasello. The key is username and the name is Danman. And we're going to use this throughout the app. So like I don't have to make requests to the server too much, or we're saving preferences like do we want volume to be on, and if they say off, they'll say volume off, and you know, a bunch of whatever other options. We're going to use this to save initial geolocations and stuff like that. So it's a super necessary and super useful way of saving things without using a whole full-out database, and it's very, very, very powerful. Okay, so after we save this, what do we want to happen? Okay, so we don't want it to just stay there, so we want it to fade out after we set our items. Okay, and we're going to fade out. So let's do submit. So now it saves and it fades out automatically to bring us out of that screen, so we don't manually have to cancel out. And we're going to do that for most input boxes. Once we know the data is okay, we'll just fade right out and whatnot. Okay, so what do we want to do next? There's two things we're going to do. First of all, when we reload our page now, it resets back to 0, meaning that the user doesn't remember what's been put in or not, or say he just wants to change his name. Now when I submit, this also will go to nothing because nothing is here. So how do we prevent us clearing out local storage by accident? We're going to do a function that when the body loads, the values from our local storage get piped into these input boxes, so we don't have that issue. Okay, so let's do a body onload function, which is called document.ready. So we're going to do a document.ready function, And we're going to put all our document.ready functions. We're going to put any function we want to do as soon as the body loads. We're going to put in here. So let's just make sure it works. And we're going to alert ready when it's done. So let's save. And our document's ready. So what do we really want to do? The first thing we want to do is get from down here. We're going to steal our my name and username. And we're going to get rid of our variables. And we are going to make variables of var my name equals and var my username equals, and we're gonna plug them into here as we want the values of these variables to be the value for the my name input box. So we're gonna put my name and my username. Okay, and whatever I'm gonna get the local storage from here. It'll get plugged in automatically. So let's give it a try. And how to call local storage? It's pretty simple. It's the same method. We are gonna call local. I'm sorry. Local storage dot get item. And then just the key. So now the key is not Daniel Nacella. The key, it was my name. And the same concept for username. So now this gets my username out of local storage. And it'll plug them in here. Let's save and let's run it. And now, I must have... Oh yes, that's right. I saved. There should be nothing here. Yes, let's check it out. Okay. Oh, username. I'm sorry. And yeah, it's a good way to see is now you don't have anything. So let's refresh, and now automatically every time. Oh. I'm sorry. You have to change it to username on the local storage.get item. And now we should have it in. So let's put in my real name. And let's save. And let's refresh. And now it'll still be here. So how we going to use this throughout our app besides here, we're going to also, we're going to set it in our my profile page and do the same concept. Okay, so let's make a div underneath our edit info. We're actually not going to use the second page. There's no reason for it. And let's get rid of screen 2, and let's put a div called div ID my profile info. Okay, and span ID equals, let's do li, just to illustrate it. Let's do ul no padding. And let's put our LIs. Oops. And let's put span class my real name span li okay, and let's do it again. Li span class my username span li and now let's close our UL. Okay, and we did close our div here, and oops, I deleted my UL. Okay, let's save, and my profile info. With 100%, height 200 pixels, background color green, just to see how it comes up. And let's see. Okay, it doesn't matter where it is. I just want to demonstrate what's going to happen. Okay, so now we're going to add our some stuff here. And it's basically the same way as setting it for the input boxes, just a different syntax. When we do anything as like a div or a span that we want to put that in, we don't use value because only inputs and text boxes can have value. So let's change it. We're going to change it to it's going to be something different. So let's also, when we save our local storage, now we want to put sorry, I'm losing myself. Okay, my real name. My real name dot text, which is what text is inside my real name span, and it's going to equal my name and my username. Same thing. We're going to copy and paste. Dot text equals my username. Okay, so every time we change something, as long as we don't refresh the page, it'll be here anyway. This doesn't go away unless we tell it to, and we're not going to for our personal information. But now also replace whatever is in here. So let's refresh and see if this works. Let's submit, and let's see my profile info, and it didn't save. So what did we do? And hold on 1 second. Yes, I forgot to add the class. So since we're using span class my real name, we're going to put a period instead of a pound sign. The reason why I'm doing this is because my real name should maybe come up a couple times throughout an app, and we can give all the spans dot real name, and my name will appear as many times as I have that span name or a class. So let's try this again and submit, and now it should appear dynamically. So let's put my real name back and submit, and now it will append just like it will when you try to do this for my profile. Okay, and now let's refresh the page, and nothing's there. So what we're going to do is copy and paste. Actually, let's fix this real quick first. And we're going to copy and paste this into our onload function. And on load, we have anything from the database. We have everything from the database going to where we needed to on the load. Okay? And that's how we use local storage. I just wanted to do this quick tutorial because next time we're going to do form validations, HTML5 database, and geolocation. So I want to make sure everyone had an okay grip on how to save local items and then take them back out into anywhere on the screen. We're going to do this like 4 or 5 times. I'm going to do like 4 or 5 tutorials on this because it's a little weird of a concept, so I want to make sure everyone has an idea of what's going on. Okay? Perfect. Thank you.